2012. Hello everyone, welcome to round 11 of Grand Prix Indianapolis 2012. Rich Hagan, Sheldon Menery with you. There you see Sean Mack. It rhymes with Black, and that's Sam Black over there. Sean Mack and Sam Black getting ready to play their round 11 match. They are currently sitting pretty nicely in the standings, still very much in the hunt. They're at 8 wins and 2 losses. So Sheldon, let's have a look at the matchup, and Sam Black, kick us off with Sam playing, well, Esper Blade.
It's the deck that the top pros are playing this weekend. It's got a fair amount of control, a little bit of tempo. Can beat anything in the field, quite honestly. And we see it nicely positioned today. Snapcasters, the Tom Martell favorite, Lingering Souls, a huge part of it. Obviously, where it gets its name, Stoneblade, the Stoneforge Mystic, who really doesn't get that many blades. There's a Batter Skull,
yes,
and an Umezawa's Jite. As a matter of fact, for Sam, there are no blades. Jace, some inexpensive control elements with Swords to Plowshares, Inquisition of Kozilek, Thoughtseize.
And we have an Inquisition of Kozilek kicking off, which means that Sam will get to see a Seething Song, an Emrakul the Aeon's Torn,
2,
a Lotus Petal, 2 indeed, and a Sneak Attack was land in Sean Mack's hand. So as you can tell, pretty much on the screen right now is Sean's deck. He turns out to be playing Sneak Attack, Show and Tell. There's some full set of Progeniti.
Full set of Progenitus. As we've discussed this weekend, I know Shad Miller is the primary adherent of the no pluralization of
Don't worry, we're
card
talking
names.
about you, not to you.
Booster draft 17. Please report to the gathering point, left side of the stage. Booster draft 17.
We see Jace the Vine Sculptor there in Sam's hand. Jace, one of the few cards that can deal with that Emrakul once it hits the board.
See Swords to Plowshares, Batterskull, Snapcaster Mage going by Sam's hand.
A lot of 4-ofs in Sean's deck. He needs to make sure that he gets either a Sneak Attack or Show and Tell. In fact, the only 2-of is Inferno type. And there's the Sneak Attack.
So, for those of you who weren't around, first time around in Urza's Saga, you're thinking, Sneak Attack? What does that do then? Well, cost 4, and for red, you can put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That creature gains haste. Sacrifice the creature at the beginning of the next end step. So, no waiting around. Once you've got your monsters ready to go, which Sean does, you can do your thing. Emrakul with haste is a bit scary.
Well, I think Sam actually held the land back in his hand because it would otherwise get annihilated.
Yes.
There's Emrakul. Here he comes.
Smash. Boom.
He's going to sacrifice him. Of course, Emrakul is going to trigger when he goes to the graveyard.
Yeah. What doesn't happen, of course, you don't get the extra turn.
Correct.
Because it wasn't played, it was put into
play.
It was put onto the battlefield.
Yes,
so just the 15 damage and the land destruction spell for 1 red mana.
Yeah, Sam is going to have to get rid of that sneak attack relatively quickly.
By relatively, we mean now. On the basis that there's another Emrakul.
No, he thought C set out.
Ah, right, yeah.
Mason
Is that a show and
Redford,
tell?
Yes,
Kevin Potter.
that's his other
Your
way of...
draft is waiting on you at the gathering
I was
point.
checking that's what his one card left.
Mason Redford, Kevin
So
Potter.
Brainstorm 1, 2, 3 sees 3 land, one of which I believe is Caracas. So 2 cards go away. Sam has access to Force of Will now. He's at 2, but 2 is significantly higher than none. So it's not yet all doom and gloom. But as Sheldon says, that sneak attack is problematic. Because although he can counter a show and tell, so looks like Batterskull and...
Well, one of the problems of being at 2, of course, all Sean has to do is sneak attack in an Inferno Titan. And he doesn't even have to attack with it.
Nope.
So Emrakul, as we've mentioned, has Annihilator 6.
Yes, that's a lot.
It flies, and it has protection from colored spells. But that card right there, Caracas,
It's not coloured, and it's not a spell.
and it's not a. So that means it can bounce Emrakul right back to Sean's hand. So with no fear from Emrakul now.
But doesn't he just do it again? Sneak attack Emrakul.
Right.
Caracas it back to your hand. Sneak attack Emrakul. What are you doing now, bad boy? I'm not sure whether Sean would ever say, "What you doing now, bad boy?" But you know, that would be a rhetorical version of what might play out.
Right, because even if Sam does it,
Ooh, and scoop up my permanents.
So Progenitus makes a brief appearance.
As so often. And Sean leads 1-0.
Yeah, the thing about bouncing the Emrakul is, of course, he can just sneak attack it back in again, and Sam can't wait until.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you just see there was a great shot there of Sean putting his 15 sideboard cards straight into his deck in the middle.
Yep.
Straight shuffle. So he's now looking at 75 cards straight up. It's a nice little tip, something BDM talks about. Just good operations. So why sit there with your 2 sideboard cards laid out on the table that you're clearly bringing in, and then as you shuffle through to find 2 cards you're going to take out. So just a nice. It was just. Sorry to interrupt, because it was just such a lovely shot of seeing that particular operation in action.
It's like you said, it's strategically a good idea, because now your opponent has no idea how many you're siding in and out. If you give him the number, there's gonna do some reduction logic and go, well, it can only be X, Y, and Z, or 3X cards. So there's quite something to be said for that. A lot of players, it was the way to sideboard back in the day. That's how we did it. We just put all 15 in.
I'm surprised it's gone out of fashion, really, because it's such an obviously that there's no downside to it, and there is an upside.
Right.
Even if it's the sort of thing where, let's say you're playing with Dredge, so you're waiting to see what your opponent brings in. Well, if they bring in 3 cards, it's a good bet that means they only have 1 piece of graveyard hate.
Mm-hmm.
They're bringing in, let's say, Leyline of the Voids.
Right.
Because you don't play 1 Leyline of the Void in the board. If you're going to hate Dredge, you go, I'll have 3 Leylines. If they bring in 6, you're playing 3 Leyline of the Void, 3 Tormod's Crypt, or 3 Grafdigger's Cage, or whatever. And there's a huge difference between knowing they're putting in 1 hate, or they're putting in 2
Right.
different cards I hate. If you're playing something like Dredge, and that applies for lots of different matchups as well. So, really good move.
I think a lot of players went away from it because they were then not quite sure what they were taking out.
I can't remember my sideboard.
Right.
What was that in? So let me ask you this. Are there any decks that... I was talking to Sam Black yesterday, and I gave him a scenario where he was winning a Pro Tour with red deck wins or something, and he laughed, not about the winning the Pro Tour bit, but I cannot possibly imagine a scenario where I would ever, basically desire to cast a lightning bolt outside limited. Are there any decks in any format where you would consider it almost shameful to win that way? I ask because of Progenitus, or Goblin Charbelcher, or Capsize with my bag, which would be my shameful way to win a game of Magic, if you like. Are there ones that you just go, yeah, I accept the deck's very good, but honestly, I don't think I can face myself winning that way.
Well, I think we talked a little bit about that yesterday, and personally, I think I would rather win by beating my opponent than by just playing my deck.
You like to say I beat you, not I got 3 points.
Right.
Sure.
That's. I mean, if I have a choice.
All other things being
right. Yeah. There, I mean, obviously, this is not unlike this scenario. There are certainly decks that I wouldn't take to an event because I don't like how they play. We talked a little bit with Sam Black about that yesterday, and David Sharpen about tournament management and not playing decks that are going to beat you up intellectually or emotionally and cause you a great deal of mental fatigue. I probably wouldn't play the High Tide deck.
Sure.
I've actually played a version of that back in the day when Time Spiral, Mind Over Matter, Dream Halls deck.
Sure.
And after 8 or 9 rounds, I was
fried.
I was no good going to the top 8 because I had I just didn't have anything left in the brain tank, as it were.
Sure. I think arguably that's why Frank Carsten has, when I say he's never won anything, that sounds dreadful to put it like that, but Frank has had
won a thing or two.
Well, he's had a ton of success, but he basically doesn't win.
It's a Hall of Famer,
No, he's won a ring, but he's won that for consistency and being at the top end of the game.
I don't think he won it. I think he earned it.
Fine, I give you that. But he historically, his idea of
he's missing the Super Bowl ring.
Is the Wake Mirror,
right?
Because he would do that rather than draft for the rest of his life. I'm with you, Frank. So it's maybe not for the rest of my life, but Wake Mirror was pretty exciting. I put exciting with air quotes because I know a lot of you don't think that's true.
So we've just gotten past a little breakdown of the top tables from Crackstaff Rashad Miller.
This is our top 10 right now.
Leading the way, 5 Maverick decks.
How many of those are being piloted by quote-unquote pros, I wonder?
Well, we have the pairings.
Because that's pretty interesting.
We have the pairings going in.
But we don't know which of them are playing Maverick necessarily. Jason Ford, Tom Martell, Steve Rubin, Bernard Gwen, Adam Kai, Vivek Soy, Tim Jansen, Daniel Berkeville, Pascal Maynard, Trevor Brown. So it's only Martell and Ford who are in our notional level 4s and above. The 109 who are in that. Maverick, Stoneblade, Rug, Threshold, One Hive Mind.
That's probably Sharkman.
Okay, so they looked at the top 7 tables apart from the 2 feature matches or something like that. Gives you a guide. We're underway. In Game 2, Sam Black 1 down to Show and Tell, Sneak Attack, Emrakul, Progenitus, Shenanigans from Sean Mack. So what do you reckon? Should we get fancy a chat with Sean Mack at the end of this one? see what's going on in the world of show and tell and Emrakul, find out a bit about his story. And
sounds like a reasonable way to spend the rest of the round, especially playing a top flight player like against Sam Black.
Yeah. Well, we might see if we can double up the interviews. We'll see who else is out there and might drag someone else into the booth for you as well. See, I think Progenitus is a cheesy way to win.
Because you can't capsize it?
That's just the one. Progenitus. It's like mac and cheese. More high-level tables. 4 high tide, 3 rug threshold, 2 stone blade, and 1 dredge. That said, Rashad Miller wrote that down at a table right here without even going to look, so he could have just made those up. Who knows? It could be anything.
There's a Trinisphere for Sean Mack. That's a main deck card for him.
Okay.
Since there's so much very inexpensive stuff.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those cards where you can tell that there's a hole in the deck. It's like when you see Blood Moon main deck. It's like, yes, clearly you're susceptible to certain things, and you would like to even things up by pre-sideboarding in some ways.
A lot of folks forget that there's a condition on Trinisphere.
Okay.
And that's as long as it's untapped.
Ah.
As long as Trinisphere is untapped, each spell that would cost less than 3 costs 3 mana to cast.
Okay. So Sam makes a tumble magnet. I'm going to have a little fight over Vendilion Click, and it's going to be denied with Red Elemental Blast. Sam with 6 cards in hand has a Thoughtseize, which is what we're about to see to get a look at Sean Mack's hand. Intuition, Brainstorm, City of Traitors, Sneak Attack, Red Elemental Blast. Quite importantly, no Emrakul, no Progenitus, no Inferno Titan. Ways to get there, though.
He's got to take the sneak attack. Yeah, there he goes.
Yes.
And a good view of things.
So Sam has no force right now. And so...
That is indeed a Perish in Sam's hand.
Had a couple in the sideboard.
Also just peeled Vindicate. I think, as you said yesterday, when somebody had 5 lands in play, they're positively flooded.
Yeah. Sam will pass the turn. So, Brainstorm. And of course, Trinisphere is symmetrical.
Yes.
So, it'll be a big 3 mana for Brainstorm.
Certainly there's a few bits that it cost Sean on the few spells that he's going to play. It's well worth the investment to slow down all the very, very efficient spells here in Legacy.
So Mack untaps. With 3 mana available, Trinisphere, the only non-land permanent in play on either side, here in Game 2 of Round 11 of Grand Prix Indianapolis 2012. These two players at 8 and 2. I can tell you that Dan Lanthier from Canada, multiple national team member, just as Pascal Maynard is, both of those at the top tables, from the part of North America that isn't America. Doing very well.
That resolves. It's going to be kind of difficult for Sean to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
already has a sneak attack in his graveyard. He'll still be able to go the show and tell route.
Yep. So their intuition will still be there. Starts having a good look through. So take away Red Elemental Blast. Yeah.
Interesting.
Sam wants to just try and make sure that when Sean kicks off by attempting to go for something, that Sam's counter magic is real and not nailed by a random single mana.
Let's see if we can get our staff to get the Sean Mack's graveyard on camera. You can see his library there. Can't quite see what he's got in his graveyard.
Vindicate the Trinisphere. So I wonder what Sean thinks about that. So I'll put it in my graveyard. The TIE Fighter does its work again. I think the closest one of my friends ever came to killing me was when I used Vindicate on turns 3, 4, 5, and 6 of a block PTQ to blow up lands. I wasn't popular.
That's where it started, huh?
Yeah, it's downhill from there ever since. Snapcaster Mage. Off we go again. And Sneak Attack is going to bite the dust.
Yeah, I suppose he knew he was gonna Snapcaster and flash back to Surgical Extraction, so he wanted to get the Red Elemental Blast out of the way in the first place. Now he knows that...
Yeah, there is literally now nothing that Sean can do against counter magic. And any Force of Will from Sam is a hard counter, because Sean doesn't have Force, either main or board. The Red Elemental Blasts have been taken away. So...
he's going to Intuition probably for 3 show and tell.
And then Sam will either have Force of Will or he will not. Which we know is he will not. You can have this one. Then crack.
Again, acceptable shortcut. Cracking that fetch land while he's searching for the Intuition. Judge comes in and reminds him to take the 2 damage from the Ancient Tomb. And 1 from the fetch land, so... But now we're at the crux of it.
We're at show time and tell time, aren't we, really?
We are.
City of Traitors, show and tell, blue player, do you have a counter spell? Ah, you don't. This is Emrakul. That's not Caracas. That's
Lingering Souls.
times 2 in the sense of, yeah. So how many? Yeah, so he gets the full set of 4. That Lingering Soul should therefore, yes. You see it sideways, it quote in the graveyard, so that's the exile pile for Sam. So he now does have 4 of the 6 Annihilator things available. So it's going to be the 4 Lingering Souls token, Snapcaster Mage, and an uncracked Flooded Strand. It's another Trinisphere from Sean.
It's going to have to be Caracas, huh?
And shakes the hand. And Sean Mack with, there he is, in the red shirt for Sneak Attack, takes the match by 2-0 over Sam Black. And that puts Sean Mack to 9-2, and Sam to 8-0.